This is Chuck LeMahieu with Dragon Sailing North America, and this is another video in our Pro Tip series. We wanted to show you today how to seal up the keel trunk assembly on your new DragonForce 65 version 6 and on your keel fin. It's a very simple procedure. Basically all you need is a few tools. You need some clear 24-hour waterproof silicone. It's important to get waterproof. Doesn't need to be super expensive. You can buy a tube of this at Home Depot or pretty much any hardware store for about $5. You're going to need a Phillips head wrench that's going to fit down inside these slots inside the keel trunk assembly. You're going to need your 2.0 millimeter wrench to undo your keel slider, and a little hammer, and just a towel to wipe off the excess silicone. So let's go at this. It's a pretty simple procedure. First thing we're going to do is I've already unhooked the elastic from the main sheet line, just so I had a little room to work here on the keel trunk. So I'm going to unscrew this top nut on the slider, because this is going to allow us to access the screws that are underneath the slider. We're going to take this whole assembly out, nut, slider and all, and we're just going to set that aside. So now we can get access to this whole keel trunk assembly. Then you're going to take your Phillips head and you're going to unscrew the screws that are here. You can feel the seal break in there as you did. You definitely don't want to over tighten this, and I'll show you why in a second. But you want to undo all these screws on the keel trunk. And you'll see in a second how that works. So I've got them unscrewed, okay? One of them came out. So what you also want to do is kind of take this while it's in there, and you want to break off the bottom part of the keel trunk so that it's not totally sealed in there, and you just want to give it a little tap. Oh, and it comes right out. So now we've tapped out the bottom. And we can just remove the top. Alright. You can still see a couple of screws are in there. So all you do is just pop those through. Save all four of those guys. So those are 4 keel assembly screws. So let's stick those aside for right now. So what we got left is a neoprene grommet on the top and on the bottom. We're going to want, and you can either leave those in or you can take it out. It's totally up to you. We're going to seal it up with silicone, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it in for right now. I just want to make sure we have a nice tight seal there. So that water doesn't eventually leak in there. With the grommets it usually won't, but you can see, and this is what I wanted to show you, the way this fits in there, it's real delicate. It's not necessarily, these boats are designed to be, they're pretty tough little boats, but if you look at how this sits in here, this whole keel trunk assembly, if you overstress this and over crank it down with either your keel bolt as it goes in, or if you over tighten this whole assembly, I think this is one of the reasons sometimes you see cracking on the bottom of these hulls. People over tighten, they tend to over tighten, and all it needs to be is snug and not move. And you don't have to over tighten it to make that happen. So that's our goal. So in this case, now we're just going to seal it up. I'm going to remove this excess silicone. It just peels right off because it's obviously old silicone. And we'll just put that aside. So now we got a relatively clean. And I am actually going to take off the grommets on these neoprene grommets on both sides, because I'm just going to use silicone to seal it well. Didn't used to be legal to do that in the DragonForce class, but now it is. This other neoprene one's still on the bottom. Alright. Just to give you the option to do this little operation if you want to. It's not going to make the boat any better. It's not going to make it any faster. It's just an option to help you seal it up more comfortably. And hopefully give it a little extra strength. And keep water ingress from in there, because if water gets trapped in here, it can get heavy in your boat. So that's another reason to do another third reason is make sure it's not over tightened for some reason at the factory, so that your boat, like I said, lasts a long time. You can feel how strong this whole junction is, though. The new version 6 is just fantastic. You know, literally, it's just a really well done mold. So what we're going to do is take our silicone, and the first thing we're going to do is put a nice solid bead all the way around this junction on the bottom. Don't be afraid to put too much, because you want it to come out if you can. So we're going to put a nice solid bead all the way around that bad boy. And we can clean off the excess later. But you want to fill it up. I'm not doing the grommet, so I want to make sure it's filled up all the way out, right? And you got that groove there that the neoprene grommet does go into, so you got a nice area to do it. I'm also, while I'm at it, going to go ahead and put a bead around this junction, so that it stays together, and around these posts so that they can screw in as well. So now we got that done, I'm going to just slide this, making sure that the keel trunk is facing forward. Slide this in like an old game of Operation, and you can see as I press it in, I got a bead of silicone all around that thing. I'm gonna so I'm just not pressing heavy, I'm just pressing it lightly to get the seal in there. And I'm just gonna take my finger, clean that bead off. No phone calls today, guys. We're trying to get this video done. And we can clean that off more thoroughly later. But you see I've got the nice seal all around there. I'm going to let that go. And that's going to take a little bit to dry. While it's drying, we're going to do the top. Same process. And take a nice bead all the way around. This side. And make sure, again, it's facing the right direction, and it is. And we're going to put that down in there. Make sure it's sliding over in the internally. You can feel it. It'll click in, and again, same thing on the top of the deck. You got a hole. Just clean off the excess with your finger. Just squeeze it together. So you can see we're getting a nice seal, and we're cleaning off the top and the bottom of the deck, right? Now silicone will dry fairly fast. You want to give it 24 hours probably before you sail or get it wet. It's waterproof silicone, takes a little bit longer to dry. Just make sure it's waterproof. There's a lot of different silicones out there, so you want to make sure it's the waterproof kind. So now that we've got a seal on the top and the bottom, I'm going to take our screws and insert them in the holes again. Take our Phillips head. We're going to screw it till get a little bite on the screw. And again, we're going to make sure not to over tighten. And generally when you screw in anything, I mean tires, anything, you want to cross tighten so that it tightens evenly. There. Now it doesn't matter if you've still got excess on there because it's silicone, so you're going to be able to clean it, have your boat nice and clean, because eventually that, once it dries, it's going to be kind of rubbery. So there we go. I got everything cleaned off. I got everything retightened, not over tightened, on the top and bottom of the boat. Looks a little messy right now, but it's very easy to clean off, and it won't damage your plastic either. So one other thing, as long as you got your silicone out and you're letting that dry, you want to take a keel and do the same thing. Because water, sometimes they don't seal these very good at the factory. So one of the nice preventative measures you can do on this keel is it's an aluminum keel. It's a very nicely designed aluminum keel. But as you can see, sometimes, now this one's pretty good, it isn't sealed on the top and on the bottom. It's one of the things we've tried to get them to do at the factory, and they've been very good about getting it done. But if yours doesn't look like it's got the seal in here, and this one does, you can do it. So I'll just show you how to do it. There's not much. You can just take a little, you don't need to get it in the screw, but you just want to take a little silicone, just a little bead, same thing, a little bead. Just push it down in there. Make it nice and even. So that's your the top and the bottom of your keel are sealed. Do it to the other side. And that's it. So we're going to let those dry, and we're going to reinstall them. And just want to thank you for taking a look and stopping by for another pro tip series from Dragon Sailing North America. See you next time.